Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. It's Tech Gumbo for the week of January 31st. I am Darren Gaucher. With us, as always, Haggai Davis.
Hey, Darren.
And James Moak.
Hey, Darren. How are you doing?
Doing fantastic, because I'm with the guys from Gulf South Technology Solutions, who are available online at
GulfSouthTech.com.
And on the phone, if you're old school like me.
225-216-2169.
Call them. They know everything about tech. Now, I wouldn't call them, though, if it was the law. You've got a guest who has a little bit more expertise in this area.
That's right. We have with us Mr. Jack Whitehead from the Whitehead Law Firm. Jack, tell us a little bit about yourself first.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me this afternoon. It's a pleasure. I'm an attorney CPA who has chosen to live in Baton Rouge with my wife for the last 30 years. I'm a professional. I'm also an attorney. I'm the managing partner of the Whitehead Law Firm. I'm a litigation business lawyer. I represent companies from Fortune 500s to mom and pops. I've developed a special emphasis in labor law and other such areas. We help businesses from all their issues from 8 to 5, and we generally work after 5. We take care of needs.
Most good attorneys do.
We do.
So, Jack, we're here today to talk a little bit about if you're a business and your employees are bringing their own device, their own smartphones and tablets, and some ways to take care of themselves, to be prepared as a business. What are some initial steps that right off the bat you need to be thinking about if you've got a business?
Every smart businessman has to think ahead. And what are we facing? We've had this boom in technology that everyone says is wonderful. Well, a business first person, what do we do and how we do it? And how does this help my business? Well, we also face the issues of employees with certain expectations. That they come into the workplace, they're a different generation. They are used to being, frankly, helicoptered. And used to being best friends and always wanting to be friends with everyone, whereas understanding a traditional employee relationship. The first concern I would have would be, what security do you need and why? Then once you understand that question, the next question I would ask, what is my potential liability for having somebody with their personal device in my office? So one must first understand, what does an iPad present? What does a cell phone present that can take pictures? Those are all good questions based upon what your business model is and what you must do. What comes down to quite simple. You need to develop a written company policy. And if you don't have one, you can be in trouble regardless of the size of your business. And you can always manage the expectations you want employees, what you expect from an employee. Best done on the front end.
Now, Jack, you say a written policy. Now, is this something I can just go on the web and go to lawyers.com and pull down some blanket firm? Or
do that and you will make a mistake.
So what should I do if I have a business?
You should stop and talk to your trusted advisor and tell them what you do and how you do it. Then I would call Gulf South and say, okay, James, what does this iPad somebody brings into my office? And what's been telling, I've read articles recently in professional journals that some companies are banning personal devices in their office. And they were seeing where people were taking 30-minute bathroom breaks. There's no reason to be able to find out what's for dinner, discuss other personal issues during the business day. 30% of business time is lost during the day due to personal devices and having conversations and text and emails of a personal nature, surfing the web. So you're losing money. That's your first thing. But just manage the expectations, have a written policy. Let's take a for example. You have people that work for you on the road. Is it wise to talk on a cell phone? And as we know, texting has become a national epidemic. It happens, it can be traced and tracked, and guess what? Bang, you've just incurred liability if that person was negligent and had an accident.
Sometimes you don't even think about that. When you send someone out, it's like you trust these folks, and they represent your company at all times when they're in your vehicle and on your dime.
That's correct, and there's safe ways to do it, and put it in your policy. And
now,
also,
one of the things that we hear about is you've seen sexual harassment policies and things like that. Folks who trade in inappropriate emails and texts and may surf sites which have material of a mature nature. I'm trying to be
You're being
politically
most
correct
polite.
here.
Not
You're being most
suitable for
polite.
work environment.
Exactly. There
Yeah.
you go. We've got initials for it. How does a business owner deal with that?
One, it should be absolutely disallowed. Clear, there should always be a sexual harassment, because you can have a sexually hostile environment as two young guys begin to have this discussion and may feel that they can have this discussion, and then all of a sudden some lady comes. It creates a bad environment. Most people would say, the boys are being boys. Absolutely not. I believe you can now limit the internet access in an office. You can limit the Wi-Fi access. You can say, you're not allowed to have your phone in the office. And when you have this break, that's when you go use your cell phone out of the office. We don't care about watching you exchange recipes or having personal conversations during a business day. It's kind of hard, but, remember when you get a brand new puppy, it has to learn. Train it.
And we're able to, actually assist our clients with these types of policies. We have samples that we can provide, and then that way they can go through those, and then, run them by their trusted advisor for to make sure they're legal and compliant, and any of the other things that they need to adhere to based on their industry. And so we do have some help that we can provide in both internet usage, as well as. We have a sexual harassment policy, but that's fairly standard. But when it comes to the technology side of the business, we have those kind of samples that we can provide to the business owners to be able to review, and then again, customize, and then get a final sign off from their legal, folks.
And then we can go the whole step further, go into the router and actually block you from going, or your employees from going to the sites that you don't want them to go to, including you can block them from going to Facebook and to YouTubes and those kind of sites. You can block them from going to Netflix and those types of things, so that your computer net, your Wi-Fi network or your online network cannot go to websites that you don't want your employees going to during the workday. So have a policy, like Jack said. Work with us, that we can come out and we can show you the policy, and then we can implement from a technology standpoint to make sure that the opportunity is not even there for your employees to get in trouble.
Jack, a lot of people would say common sense prevails in situations like these, but everyone's perception of common sense as far as inappropriate material or working on something non-work on your device during office hours, they don't know what common sense is for that. How does that define? What does the law say about reasonable expectations?
That's why we have judges and juries. But as I've been quietly look at a situation, understand it, then if I really feel confused, I'll talk to other lawyers, and I'll talk to someone else I have a privilege with. What do you think? To my wife. But it's just common. It really is common decorum and decency. I've seen a breakout of cases in institutions where in the last month, it's been amazing how people have been charged with a harassment claim in campus, and they're about ready to get kicked out. So it's really common sense. How would you want your daughter treated?
Right.
Is a nice way to look at it.
And it all lies with the person whose perception is making the complaint, the complainant, and their perception.
They're not necessarily. If the employer is reasonable,
okay,
he must be reasonable, and a business owner has to be thought-provoking. He has to understand and try and make sure he doesn't need to get his consensus from his employees, but from his trusted team, and just apply it. That's correct. And the simplest rule: when you find a link, the weakest link, can them. Everybody else understands you mean business, and they put their heads down, and they go back to work.
And I think, Darren, too, this is just like any other problem or any other thing you might deal with in business, is if you're involved in an accident, let's say, and you end up in a suit or somewhere along the way. If you can prove that you did everything as a business owner or as the business owner to help prevent this accident, then the jury or the judge is going to look at it like this guy or this company really did everything possible to keep this from happening.
Right.
Whereas if you do nothing at all, I mean, we've always heard, what is it? Ignorance is not an excuse.
Yeah,
that's correct.
Something along those lines. And so it's the same thing with this. If you have a policy in place, you've held educational classes, what have you, for your employees, then if something, does happen and you end up, in a bad spot, then, at least you can say, hey, look, I did everything, possible to avoid this.
An
That's
ounce
correct.
of prevention.
Right.
Yes, and we've handled cases that area in both the in sexual harassment cases and other things where people feel they've been wronged, and it can be very tough and very brutal. We've handled cases when there are consequences for a very bad lapse in judgment and failing to properly create the right environment for your team.
I tell people, just be kind all the time, and it'll probably work out. Jack Whitehead with the Whitehead Law Firm, thanks for joining us on Tech Gumbo this week.
Been a pleasure.
Haggai James, we'll see you on the other side. Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP.